I want to thank Father Alumuku and his team for organizing this press conference to give us an opportunity to meet the press and through the press to meet our people of Nigeria. I don't know what you want me to say except to say how grateful I am to God that I have lived 75 years in this world. I was telling George that tomorrow I will be 75 years plus 9 months in this world, because I came into this world at the moment of my conception. My mother carried me for 9 months before I eventually showed up. But still, the 29th of January is important because that is the first time I opened my eyes to see this world of ours. 75 years is a long time, especially in the Nigerian context. Our what we call our average life expectancy in Nigeria is hovers around 50 years, not much more. So those of us who not only pass 50, but also achieve the 70 years, which the Bible says is the sum of our years, and even beyond it for 5 extra years, we can only say thanks be to God. And like you can see, in relatively good health. I have no any special health and life-threatening challenges to deal with. How long that will last, I don't know. But I do know that after 75, you should get ready to move to the other world where we meet our Heavenly Father and begin to enjoy forever with them in heaven. I tell people that at 75, I am in the waiting lounge, business lounge of heaven. My boarding pass is in my hand. I'm only waiting for them to call the flight, and I will be ready to go. But for the moment, we are rejoicing that I have been here 75 years. And this year, before the end of the year, we shall also celebrate 50 years as a priest of the Catholic Church. And not long ago, we celebrated 36 years as a bishop of the Catholic Church. Well, too many things to celebrate in one go. And thank you all for coming. Maybe I will leave whoever you have assigned to moderate the conversation. I'm sure it will be much better if we did it that way. The very first one, what do I think? You mentioned our democratic journey. I will say our democratic adventure. We didn't have any journey really. Since 1960, we have been taking 2 steps forward and 5 steps backwards. You are all aware, even if you are most of you may not be there, since 1966, we had been roaming around the bush as far as democracy is concerned, when the major decision was taken by a group of soldiers to overthrow the government with violence and installed military rule, which continued after them for 30 years almost. We were running our nation like the private empire of some strong man who happens to be carrying our guns. The irony of it is that Nigerians somehow tolerated this for so long. So much that we almost consider it normal. Let's hope that by now we have realized that that's not the way to go forward. And as far as democracy is concerned, I'm afraid we still have not recovered from the infection of military rule. So much so that many of the key actors in the so-called democratic contest are still operating with the mentality of military coup plotters. They talk about election as a battle. They're talking about capturing power. They go around mounting flags. That's what you do in battle. We take it so much for granted. And like in war, they say all is well in war and in love. Because it is a war, there is no principles. Whatever needs to be done, you want to win at all costs. We have not gotten out of that yet. And until we get out of that, we will not even start making progress as far as democracy is concerned. Okay, we have been congratulating Jonathan for conceding defeat. Well, we congratulate him because African leaders generally don't concede defeat. But democracy means if you lose, you agree you lose, and you congratulate your opponent. That is what democracy is all about. We might say that Jonathan took that major step, and has written his name in letters of gold in the annals of our democratic story. And he has even gotten also respect abroad. Than if he had stayed put and the country had gone into flames and thousands have been killed, which was possible in that year 2015. Now, one would have expected that those who came into power because the government was ready to lose will also be ready to lose now that we have another election. I hope they are, but from what I'm seeing, it does not seem as if they are thinking along those lines. And I heard Mr. President says he will do all in his power to make sure we have a free and fair election. The question still is, how far is his power? And is he doing all in his power? Well, we have gotten them together. When I say we, I mean the National Peace Commission. We got politicians together to symbolically sign into an accord to go by free ways of electioneering and to accept the results of election. It's one thing to sign documents, it's quite another thing to see what is happening on ground. As an optimist, I have not given up hope yet. Even though election is only 2-3 weeks ahead, I still believe we will manage to get a reasonably good election outcome. And that will happen if the major responsible element for the election does what is right, namely the government. The government has a major responsibility to ensure that the election goes well. They control the INEC, they control the security agencies, police, DSS, all of them. If all these people do their work, then February 16th will be a wonderful day. We'll go out like in a big rally. We'll go and cast our votes and come back home and wait for the results, and wait for the results to be properly announced. I keep praying, and we are praying that that will happen. Well, until we see what happens in this 2019 election, we cannot say whether we are making progress. All I know is that Nigeria should have gone beyond where we are now. Since 1960, I was a young boy of 16 years, 15 years. I was in race course. We used to call it race course. That is Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos. I represented my secondary school. And that night we saw the British flag coming down and the green-white flag going up. And as a young, from first students, I said, finally we have arrived to. In the next 10 years, we shall be like America, Germany, and Italy. Well, we'll be waiting. We have not reached. But I think we shall reach. So that is my answer to the first question. The second one is very simple. Even if I didn't write to the Pope has my CV. They know very well when I reach 75. But I still wrote to them, informing them that my 75th birthday is about to arrive and it will be time for me to retire. I'm waiting for his decision on me. He has not replied yet. And according to the statement he himself made last year, if you reach 75, just make sure you send in your letter. and wait for the Pope to decide when to release you. So I'm sending tomorrow, which is 25th, 29th of January, I will actually write my letter symbolically. Say, today I'm 29. Today I'm 75. I'll send it to the Nuncio, put one in what do you call it, email, so that I will reach Rome tomorrow to tell them, look, I'm ready, whatever you want to do with me, that will be done. So you will not be caught by surprise when I shall leave office, because I will be given sufficient notice to tell all my brothers and sisters that I will soon be going. But all we know is that I am now due to retire. The last question is, the question you raised has been agonizing for all of us who are leaders of the Catholic Church. Somehow or the other, we believe that our church has got very, very, very valid and valuable principles for public life. And we believe we have imparted that on many of our members who decide to enter politics. I have done it personally with some of our members of our Catholic Church. And some of them have gone into politics and they come back with their nose bloodied because they have not been able to cope with the warfare that is out there. And sometimes they come back and tell me, Bishop, the things you say are very right, they are true, but it just doesn't work in Nigeria. Namely, to go into politics with a clear mind, for the sake of the service of the people, with sincerity of purpose, and without hatred of anybody, and not to play the same game that we have been seeing all along. My answer to them is, if the right thing doesn't work, is it the bad thing that works? I like to believe that while we are not proud to say all our Catholic politicians are very good people, I would like to hope that some of them are trying their best, making their effort. And we keep encouraging them. We are encouraging Catholics to go into politics, not so that they can capture power, but so that wherever they are, they will bring to bear the valid principles of the Catholic social doctrine on their environment. And mind you, Catholic social doctrine doesn't mean social doctrine for Catholics. It means social doctrine for the society as inspired by Catholic principles. We still have a long way to go in this regard. Our Reverend Fathers here know it's one of their major jobs, even when you are preaching in the church, to speak in such a way that people are helped to be able to put their head out and be ready to go against the bad currents. And if one is really sincere in that regard, he is likely to meet other like-minded people, and that way we may be able to create a critical mass of good politicians, which is the only way forward in any democracy. I wish I could say our Catholics are good, but on the other hand, they are not worse than other people, are they? They are not worse than other people, but it's not enough to say we are not worse than other people. We ought to be able to say we are doing better. So you keep your gunpowders dry. The first and the last question, they all refer back again to the same issue of my relationship with the Sultan, not just with the Sultan, my efforts at inter-religious collaboration and mutual understanding. And I'm hearing people expressing fears that maybe if tomorrow I get a letter from the Pope that he has accepted my resignation, it will mean the end of my interreligious work. Let me assure you that the letter I will get from the Pope is simply to tell me that I am no longer responsible for the day-to-day running of the Archdiocese of Abuja, and generally he might also at the same time announce who is going to be the new bishop. So, but I continue to be Cardinal John Onaiyekan, and indeed, furthermore, I continue to do the work that I do as a cardinal in Rome until I am 80. So that one you should take for it. But as a retired archbishop, I will continue to be, in fact, maybe far more involved in my relationship with other Christian bodies, because I will have more time now to devote to it. And in case you don't know, we've actually set up a Cardinal Onaiyekan Foundation for Peace, which precisely has found it so that whether I retire or not, we can continue the work for peace. How long can we wait for peace if there is no justice? The answer is very simple. Continue to work for peace by working for justice. Continue to pursue justice. Finish. The Peace Committee, as you know, is a small group of people of goodwill who somehow volunteer themselves and whatever moral authority that they have to work together towards bringing peace to our political processes. The Peace Committee was not set up by government. It's made up of volunteers. And the Peace Committee has no way of enforcing anything. No police, no army, nothing. The only powers that the Peace Committee has is the moral authority of the membership. And so, when we invite the politicians who are contestants to come together and sign an accord, and they answer and come freely and willingly, we cannot say that the committee is a toothless bulldog, meaning it has some amount of clout that the actors want to at least appear that they respect the National Peace Commission. That now, after signing the accord, they are still doing funny things. There's not much you can do about that, especially as very often the rascality is not even controlled from one place. All kinds of people have their own reason for behaving badly. One thing certainly is sure, that we can continue to ask them to behave well, and there's going to be another meeting or another summoning of political actors before the day of the election itself. Who are those who will come to that, we don't know. But I don't want us to think that we are just wasting time. If we were wasting time, I wouldn't go. You made reference to recycling of politicians. This question is neither here nor there. There are parliamentarians in England who have been there for, 20, 25, 30 years. Similarly, there are congressmen in America who have been there for 20, 30 years. The only difference is that those people have been performing. They have been doing so well that their constituency regularly elects them to go back to Congress. What we are having is a suspicion we have that some people because they have managed to gather enough political power, also with money, they are able to work their way back to Parliament every 3 years or every 4 years. That is what we should worry about. If they were doing well and they keep winning the election, it is only ourselves to blame. But if we have a situation where even those who are not doing well are winning election, it is sad. Also sadder when you have political parties that are not giving us good candidates and are forcing us to choose between 2 or 3 roles. So what do you do on the morning of the election? If you look at the candidates, there's none of them that you really like, because none of them have really measured up. And if we have a situation where the political parties themselves are not able to present good candidates for the electorates, then even our freedom of election choice is very badly jeopardized. So recycling, how long they will continue, there is no age limit to going into the parliament. That is why we have 2 major candidates, both of them septuagenarians, 70-year-old, or both of them. There are some younger candidates, but we are not seeing them even the younger candidates, they are not joining hands together to form a formidable alternative. And I begin to wonder, all this so-called new breed, whether they have really the love of the nation at heart, or whether they are just ambitious to make a name for themselves. As things stand, we don't expect too much in the next election from that point of view. We will be recycling, we are going to recycle the same people, whether you like it or not. Either we recycle those who have been ruling us in the last 4 years, or we recycle those who ruled us in the other 4 years. It's but the same group. I'm sorry, I have no good answer for you there. The next one, I'm not sure. The only thing I get there is that there is among the youths, there's almost there's a lack of social coherence and moral upbringing, and people, the films and the social media are full of things that does not help. Then you ask, what is the Catholic Church doing to produce good films? Well, actually, it is not actually the job of the Catholic Church to be producing films. But there are Catholics who are film producers. And we have an organization, an association of Catholic media. Actors and entertainers association, and they are doing the best they can within their competence.
She's a member.
So that is one. As for, I'm surprised you wept because Baka talked rubbish. How come you are weeping? So your tears are so easy to come. Mbaka is Mbaka, one Reverend Father who is stupid and says stupid things. He doesn't represent Catholic Church. And we do not hold his neck and say, why are you talking rubbish? I think it's enough to just let him talk what he says, and the rest of by their fruits, we shall know them. What does he want? Why is he talking that way? I don't know. His bishop has called him several times to call him to order. Maybe the order could be even more straightforward and strong. But for the moment, I don't think, as a Catholic, I don't feel like weeping because of what Baka says. Not at all. I was even reading now that he visited the villa today. I don't know whether it is true, but we never know anymore. So people have their own ways of doing whatever they are doing. But if you want to know what the Catholic Church thinks and believes, you don't go to Mbaka to ask him. You know where to go. Finally, the Catholic Church and CAN. The Christian Association of Nigeria was founded by the Catholic Church and the group which we call Christian Council of Nigeria. It was later on that others who didn't belong to this group joined CAN, and then eventually we ended up with 5 different bodies. It turned out we had an association, and we had rules and laws that we agreed upon as regards how we will work together. It so happened that at some stage, a few people hijacked CAN and were doing things which were totally against our own feelings and our own way of looking at church. That is why we stepped aside. We stepped aside until that wave of madness passed. And since the end of that wave of madness, we have started to return slowly, but with clear conditions. It's an association, freely entered. We have given our conditions for being part of CAN, and we are gradually becoming fully integrated. And mind you, there's CAN at different levels. In some states, it is working very well, and the Catholic Church is very much working. The issue that you are raising is probably with national CAN. Even there, we are on the way to a solution. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you. I know you have many, you may have more questions to ask, but the media, personnel who need to produce their news tonight, would like to go earlier. I think those who left earlier are going to have to produce the news for tonight's news broadcast. We thank you for coming. We thank everyone for his time.